always like to, when I meet young men and young women, I always want to tell them that, I love to talk to you. You are the best person to talk to about these things because nothing happened to you as yet. You don't have any sugar yet or any diabetes. You don't have any high blood pressure yet. You don't have any cancer yet. You don't have those things yet. And maybe as I look at you tonight, and I see that most of you are young people, and some maybe the younger people will say, "Oh, you are not young people," but you probably still don't have those issues that the world is grappling with. Am I right? Okay. All right. So tonight we're going to deal with nutrition. When I used to go to Portmoran Church, when we talk about nutrition and we look at, many of the things on nutrition from the spirit of prophecy, sometimes the people, they, for want of a better phrase, we sometimes mad at each other during and after the presentation. But I must say I learned a lot. Now, tonight, I'm going to look at a few of the popular errors in nutrition. And then after that, we will come down to something that is more pleasant. But I'm going to look at some of the popular errors. And yes, bitter medicine. And maybe some of us involved in these popular errors, or we might feel rebuked. That is good if you feel rebuked, because who the Lord loves, He chastens. All right. So tonight, the first thing I'm going to look at is improper food and irregular time for eating. Right? Improper food and irregular times for eating. And I call this series Thus Spake Jesus because I'm coming straight from the testimony of Jesus. Right? I'm not bringing in anything new. I'm coming straight from the testimony of Jesus. So that is how the presentation is arranged. So I'm going to Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 122, looking at the times for eating. Now it says, the mind does not wear out nor break down so often on account of diligent employment and hard study, as on account of eating improper food at improper times, and of careless inattention to the laws of health. Diligent study is not the principal cause of the breaking down of the mental powers. The main cause is improper diet, irregular meals, and lack of physical exercise. So in that statement, we can see that really we should have proper times for eating. And there are some food that may be termed proper foods. Right? Are you with me? Yes. Okay. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is flesh meats, because I tell you, Alright, I think I will tell you a little later. But as you mentioned, Eat like a king in the morning, eat like a prince in the afternoon, and like a papa in the evening if you eat like a papa. But give at least 5 hours for the stomach to deal with the food and this. Don't eat anything in between. Don't eat any coffee, any nuts, no seasoning, nothing in between. Don't only drink water in between. But now, I was about to say that you hardly can talk about nutrition and without mentioning flesh meat. And flesh meat is tend to be a sore point, right? But we really can't talk about nutrition without talking about meat. You know, it's one of those, as Pastor said, bitter medicine. Okay, so I'm going to go to 2 Testimony, page 61, and see what it says about our love for flesh meat. The eating of flesh meats has made a poor quality of blood and flesh. Your systems are in a state of inflammation, prepared to take on disease. Now, this statement, though, was written to someone in particular. But I'm going to take it further and say that, you know, if the flesh meat had led to that kind of situation in that person's state, then, you know, we can see from it that it's really not the best thing for us. Would you agree? Okay. Now, there is a popular view, which is what we find in the world today. A popular view that, well, the Ministry of Healing tells us a little bit on it. It's a popular view, but a mistaken view. And it goes like this. Ministry of Healing, page 316. It is a mistake to suppose that muscular strength depends on the use of animal food. The needs of the system can be better supplied, and more vigorous health can be enjoyed without its use. The grains with fruits, nuts, and vegetables contain all the nutritive properties necessary to make good blood. So we saw previously that the flesh meats made poor quality of blood, because we know that the food that we eat, that is what makes the blood, right? Wouldn't you agree? That is what is converted to blood. Digested, it is digested, then it goes into the bloodstream. So what we have running in our veins and what we are is generally what we eat. So the popular view, and though it's a mistaken view, but it's a popular view of the world, that you have to eat, that people who eat flesh are stronger. That, you know, strong people, like if you don't eat flesh, you're not so strong. Right? So we can see from the testimony of Jesus that this is not so. That when we combine the grains, fruits, nuts, and vegetables in a proper way, we can get out all the things that we need for nutrition, and then we will be properly nourished and stronger. All right? So we're not going to have that view anymore, because we can see that that is a mistaken view. That, right? Are we on the same page? Well, I would answer it by saying, you know, those are given. It's like the lesser of the evil. It's like the lesser of the evil. But even though the Bible says we can eat those things, but yet the better thing to do would be to use the nuts, grains, and fruits and vegetables. Okay, so what about rich foods? Because when I looked at this, I thought about what I would talk about, what would be meant, what it meant by talking about foods that are rich foods. But the caption that I gave for this is that rich foods and the desire for a strong drink. And I was surprised to see that some of the foods that we eat would actually create that desire to have a strong drink. But that is what I found in Counsels and Diets and Foods, page 123. It says, often intemperance begins in the home. Last week we spoke about temperance, but here it says, often intemperance begins in the home by the use of rich, unhealthful food. The digestive organs are weakened, and a desire is created for food that is still more stimulating. Thus, the appetite is educated to crave continually something stronger. The demand for stimulants becomes more frequent and more difficult to resist. The system becomes more or less filled with poison. So, rich foods. You know, my understanding of rich foods as I studied this would include, elaborate mixtures of food. Things like where you mix milk and sugar and egg together and butter. Those is what I would consider rich food. Or where you have some elaborate mixtures, where the food is not so simple. So we want to have our food being simple instead of
3-course and 4-course meal and stuff like that.
Yes. Where we have because I actually saw where counsel was given to someone, and where the servant of the Lord said that she saw a physician that was looking on the person's case and was saying to the person that he was saying to you, you are having too many different foods at one meal. So it's good to eat a wide variety, but not at the same time, because then we would have something that is very challenging for the stomach to digest because of the great mixture and of the foods.
So you say you can eat something on banana with some lentils. Talking about vegetarian.
Yes.
So you have something on banana. You can't eat that, or you have to eat straight yam or straight.
Well, those in my view, those seem simple, yam, dumpling, but yeah, that seem okay to me. Right. Yeah. But you know that some people eat it like that, because some people, all right. Some people eat like that, Some people eat like that, where they would go and buy food, and they would buy chicken with curry goat gravy, or they would buy chicken and have curry goat with it too, or putting in something else that we don't eat. They want that kind of gravy. So we are not so bad in that way. But even sometimes we want to be simpler and don't eat too many different things at one time, because sometimes we end up with colic. Yeah. Okay, moving on. Now, this has to do with the rich foods as well. The dangers of milk and sugar. From two testimonies, our Testimonies Volume 2, page 368. Large quantities of milk and sugar eaten together are injurious, the writing says. They impart impurities to the system. Animals from which milk is obtained are not always healthy, and they may be diseased. A cow may be apparently well in the morning and die before night. Then she was diseased in the morning. But the important point is that we want to avoid large quantities of milk and sugar. And then sometimes we add as well. We have the milk and the sugar, but we also add egg, and we also add butter. Is that so? Yeah. So those are some of the. Okay. What about eating too much? Because I'm looking at some of the popular errors in our time. What about the amount that we eat? Should we eat until the belly busts? All right. The sin of overeating. Overtaxing the system is a common sin. And when too much food is used, the entire system is burdened. Life and vitality, instead of being increased, are decreased. This is as Satan plans to have it. Man uses up his vital forces in unnecessary labor in taking care of an excess of food. By taking too much food, we not only improvidently waste the blessings of God provided for the necessities of nature, but do great injury to the whole system. Right? So there we have it. We don't want to be overeating. We don't want to eat until, we feel real too full. I remember, as a little boy coming up at Christmas time. At Christmas time we get a lot. We have turkey, we have beef, we have chicken, we have cake, we have cereal, we have rice and peas, we have plain rice. We have, But I tell you, that as a little boy, I remember I ate so much and so many different things that I really felt bad and vomited up, right? So we can see that it talks about the sin of overeating. So, and maybe some of us still overeat, but we want to eat like a king in the morning, though not busting our belly in the morning still. Eat like a prince. Then, in the afternoon, about 5 hours after, still not busting our belly. And then, if necessary, then if need be, because if needs be, we eat like a pauper in the evening. All right? Yes, Brother Max. Well, yes, definitely. We want to eat the food to properly nourish us. Because if we don't eat sufficient and have sufficient variety, then we're going to end up not being properly nourished. So that is the other extreme now to overeating, where we don't have sufficient to nourish the body. Right? So we have to find a balance there. Okay. We live in a time where we eat out a lot. But I tell you, we eat out a lot. Though for me still, I always carry my food with me. But most people buy food, right? And yeah, they buy food. Most people buy food out there in the world. And sometimes they have issues with, so we have to be careful about what we buy. Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 125, it says, a wrong course of eating or drinking destroys health, and with it, the sweetness of life. Oh, how many times have you purchased what you called a good meal at the expense of a fevered system, loss of appetite, loss of sleep, inability to enjoy food, a sleepless night, hours of suffering, all for a meal in which taste was gratified. Now, we live in a time where we eat out a lot, so that's another thing that we want to be careful with, that we do the best we can and know what we are eating. We don't want to be eating things that make us sick. Okay, regularity in eating. Should we have regular times for eating? Or should we just eat anytime? Or should we have regular times for eating? Should we have a time like, say, we eat breakfast, say, 9 o'clock? I mean, it varies for different people. Maybe some might eat at 7, some might eat at 8, some might eat at 9, at 10, eat breakfast. Do we have regular times for eating? Let's see what this says. It counsels on diet and foods, because we're talking about nutrition. Page 173. The stomach must have careful attention. Heard that, brethren? The stomach must have careful attention. And if we don't give the stomach careful attention, don't we feel it? Yeah, we feel it. So, in order to not feeling it that way, we want to be careful with our stomach. It must not be kept in continual operation. Right? So we don't want our stomach working constantly. Right? So it must not be kept in continual operation. Give this misused and much abused organ some peace and quiet and rest. After the stomach has done its work for one meal, now this is a good one for us. For one meal, do not crowd more work upon it before it has had a chance to rest, and before sufficient supply of gastric juice is provided by nature to care for more food. 5 hours. How many hours? 5 hours at least should elapse between each meal. And always bear in mind that if you would give it a trial, you would find that 2 meals are better than 3. So the thing is, we don't want to abuse our stomach. So we want, when we have our meal, like if I have a big meal for my breakfast, then I'd say 9 o'clock. All right, I tell you how I do it during the week. Say by 9 o'clock I have my breakfast, which I try to make like a king, being the biggest meal. And then at about 3 o'clock, I have the second meal. Yes. But at least, you want to let at least 5 hours pass, right? Because we want to work the stomach and give it a little time to rest. That is how I do it still. Yes, Brother Johnson. Elder. Yes.
And like you say, you have your breakfast at 9 o'clock. Most people are work by then.
Oh, okay.
So, I don't know, because I have tried 2 meals.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. The thing is, we want to do the best we can, right? And bear in mind that we want we don't want to, we look into have our stomach serve us well, because we're going to need it for all our life. And when we eat, we can examine ourselves and see how we feel, how we feel, and if we tried something else, if we would feel better. But even though you may be at work, or it wouldn't be the same thing for everybody, because I work as a colporteur, so basically I don't have that kind of job like where I have to go into an office and sit down there all day. So in your case, you have to work out what would be the best for you. But bear in mind that we want to give the stomach sufficient time for rest. And the plenty meals, the plenty small meals is a popular thing of the world that some doctors are talking about now, but it's a new thing. And what I find is that after a while, they change it to something else too. So in my view, I prefer to follow what I know is coming from the Lord and works. So the advice that goes contrary to what the Lord has revealed, I disregard it. Okay. All right. Moving on. All right. So we talk about regularity in eating. Okay. That we just spoke about that. Now, still on Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 112. What about how many things we are eating at one time? Like say, I have a little beef, I have a little chicken, I have some pasta, I have some rice and peas, I have some ice cream after, some cake, some vegetable. All right. Hear what this says. I've entitled this section, Too Great Variety at One Meal. Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 112. It says, this is counsel given to someone. It says, you need to keep in your house the very best kind of help for the work of preparing your food. In the night seasons, and I mentioned this earlier, in the night seasons, it seemed that Elder Dash, so she was writing to a particular person in the church, an elder, and she says that, all right, in the night seasons, it seemed that Elder Dash was taken sick, and an experienced physician said to him, quote, I took notice of your diet. You eat too great a variety at one meal. Fruit and vegetables taken at one meal produce acidity of the stomach. Then impurity of the blood results, and the mind is not clear because the digestion is improper, unquote. You should understand that every organ of the body is to be treated with respect. In the matter of diet, you must reason from cause to effect. And this is letter 312, written in 1908, and it was sent to this particular elder. So she saw in vision that an experienced physician, usually when she saw in vision, an experienced physician was counseling the elder and was saying that, I took notice of your diet. You eat too great a variety at one meal. So we want to eat simple, with not too great a variety at once. You know, we want to eat all the colors, but not all of them at the same time. Right? What do you think about that? Agree with me? Or agree with the writing? Well, the next meal. The next meal. Like say you have fruit for breakfast and then you have vegetable for lunch. But yeah. That's what I would say. Okay. All right. Now, we have been looking at popular errors in diet. And the last thing I'm going to look at, the last thing I'm going to mention on that is just a word on pastries. Counsels on Diet and Foods, page 333. Far too much sugar is ordinarily used in food. Cakes, sweet puddings, pastries, jellies, jams are active causes of indigestion. Especially harmful are the custards and puddings in which milk, eggs, and sugar are the chief ingredients. The free use of milk and sugar taken together should be avoided. Ministry of Healing, page 302, written in 1905. Let those who advocate health reform strive earnestly to make it all that they claim it is. Let them discard everything detrimental to health. Use simple, wholesome food. Fruit is excellent and saves much cooking. Discard rich pastries, cakes, desserts, and other dishes prepared to tempt the appetite. Eat fewer kinds of food at one meal and eat with thanksgiving. All right, so that's the bitter medicine. That's the bitter medicine. But you know, neem is very bitter, but it is very good for the liver. All right. So we find sometimes the bitter medicine is good for us in the long run. Okay. So I finished with the bitter medicine now, and why should we have a reform in diet? Well, part of what I just looked at earlier should tell us why we need to have a reform in diet. But this is written, this is from Counsels on Diet and Foods, chapter 1. Reasons for reform. The only one lease of life is granted us, and the inquiry with everyone should be, how can I invest my powers so that they may yield the greatest profit? How can I do most for the glory of God and the benefit of my fellow men? For life is valuable only as it is used for the attainment of these ends. Our first duty toward God and our fellow beings is that of self-development. Every faculty with which the Creator has endowed us should be cultivated to the highest degree of perfection, that we may be able to do the greatest amount of good of which we are capable. So, one very important reason why we should have a reform in diet, for diet reform, is that we will be taking a better care of the body that the Lord has given us, so that we can give Him better service, and that we can also take care of our fellow men, that we can minister to our fellow men better. So reform is certainly something that is recommended. All right? What was the original diet that God gave to man? If God gave to man an original diet, would you say that that would be certainly close to the best, if not the best? All right. Genesis chapter 1, verse 29. And God said, "Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in the which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat." So based on this is the diet that God gave to Adam and Eve originally. So I would say that this is really the best diet, since it's what God gave to the man that he made perfect, and he gave him a perfect diet. So when God said, he looked at all things that he had created, and behold, it was very good, then he's talking about the diet as well, that this is very good. So a good thing for us, and many people are realizing this now, that the original diet that God gave to man is indeed the best. Diet can be a remedy too. In fact, diet is an important remedy. In fact, where the natural remedies are listed, diet is given as one of them. And what we would normally term natural remedies, what the book tells us, for example, the Ministry of Healing, page 127, tells us, this is what it says about natural remedies. Pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, rest, exercise, proper diet, which we have been looking at tonight, proper diet, the use of water, trust in divine power. These are the true remedies. So we notice no drugs given here. And the next time I talk, I will be looking at drugs. But no drugs are given here. But the natural remedies are pure air, sunlight, abstemiousness, which we looked at last week. That's temperance, rest, exercise, proper diet, the use of water, trust in God, very important. These are the true remedies. So if we trust God, we will follow him with his simple remedies. Imagine, simple remedies that with none of them we have to buy. Every person should have a knowledge of nature's remedial agencies and how to apply them. It is essential both to understand the principles involved in the treatment of the sick and to have a practical training that will enable one rightly to use this knowledge. It is our duty, and it is very important for us. We need to learn how to take care of the sick. That should not be delegated to where we can't do anything to help ourselves. We must study, because we live in the information age, so we must study to know how to take care of people when they are sick. Take care of our family members. All right, so we are closing now. And 3 John 2, our scripture. This is the scripture that what we will close with. It says, and I like this text very much, it says, "Beloved, And it is good to know that we are all beloved, right? All of you sitting before me tonight. God calls us beloved. Right? He says, beloved, I wish above all things. Isn't it special? Isn't it wonderful to know, to feel that you are beloved? What do you say? You agree? Beloved. And it's God saying that to us. That's wonderful, eh? Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health. So God don't want us to be sick, right? And he has provided to keep us well. That we may prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospereth. So as the Lord wants us to grow spiritually, he wants us to be healthy, to depend upon him. He wants us to prosper and be in health. Do you love God more do you love God a little better when you realize that he wants you to prosper and be in health? Don't you love him a little more? Right? That this is his desire for you. And elsewhere in the Bible it says, I know the plans that I have for you. Plans to prosper you and to give you an expected end. So it's wonderful that the Lord wants us to prosper in terms of our health and our nutrition. So thank you for coming out and listening to me as I continue my medical missionary training, because I practice and practicing, and so thank you for coming, and I hope that the things that we looked at, that they will help us, because none of us are perfect, and as we read what the Lord has provided to help us, and as we take heed, then he will bless us even more. So, pardon me? No, I've read from a few books. Counsels on Diet and Foods, Ministry of Healing, but most of them are in the Ministry of Healing. Right? Ministry of Healing is a very good book that outlines the message of health as it pertains to diet and nutrition and all the other areas. All right, so yes. And you would do that every day? Mm-hmm. All right. In general, what I find is that the diets that there are numerous kinds of diets that people try, but some work for some people, others might not work. But what I have found that the thing that really works is this book called Ministry of Healing. It outlines the way that we should go. If we should, cease to worry about our weight and eat like a king in the morning, give the space the time, look at what you're eating, eat 2 meals a day, do your exercise, get your rest, use your water. We find that is a system that really works. So that's the system that I would recommend. Yes.
Whereas what Sister Joyce was talking back to what you normally eat.
Yes.